Welcome. My name is James Boland, and I'm the founder and president of the Australian Community. Now, like you, I've been watching a bunch of videos on the internet featuring this little guy, the HDMI to USB 2 converter. And yes, it is a game changer. I can take any device with an HDMI output, and using a USB to USB-C cable connected to an Android cell phone, I can start live streaming anywhere in 1080p. It could be any device from a GoPro with the optional media mod to an A10 Mini. As long as the device has an HDMI output, I can live stream in HD anywhere there is a Wi-Fi or cellular signal. That is game changing. This video, however, is not about how to connect my GoPro or my A10 Mini or my DSLR to a cell phone to start live streaming. There are a bunch of YouTube videos out there that can show you how. This video is how our non-profit overcame the technical challenge of recording our live streams using a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K completely off the grid. No AC power, no Wi-Fi. The solution had to stream in HD, record in 4K RAW, be run and gun, and have a battery life of 3 or more hours. That may sound like a long shopping list. However, before we go through all of the components in the setup, and we will include the links in the description, let me share some of the challenges we have faced in the real world of live streaming off the grid. If you are live streaming outdoors, the weather will be an issue, especially the sun. Now, I don't care how good a screen you think you have. If you've got direct sunlight on your screen, you can't see what's happening, and therefore you cannot manage your live stream. You can mitigate this with something as simple as an umbrella, but be prepared for the elements. Before live streaming off the grid, the next consideration is understanding how much data you will need for your stream. The math is pretty straightforward. Most HD live streams are at 4500 kilobits per second or 4.5 megabits per second. First, divide by 8, as there are 8 bits in a byte. This equals, say, half a megabyte per second. Multiply that by 60, which gives us megabytes per minute. Multiply that by 60 again, and that will calculate the total used in an hour, which is just north of 2 gigabytes. Therefore, if you have only 1 gig of data left on your cell plan and you intend to live stream for an hour at 4.5 megabits per second, you have a problem. A best practice is to allow 1.5 times your need. So you should have 3 gig in reserve for, say, a 2 gig stream. The next consideration is your available bandwidth at your location and when you intend to live stream. Well, what does that mean? Well, naturally you're going to visit the site where you want to live stream ahead of time, and you're going to measure your upload speed. A 5G phone will have better speeds than a 4G. Again, to be safe, 1.5 times 4.5 megabits rounds up to 7 megabits per second. If your upload speed is less, you will most likely have buffering or a complete failure of your live stream, as cellular signals can fluctuate and your cell phone uses bandwidth for background applications. Let's say you check using a speed test and say you're getting 9, 16 or even 30 megabits per second upload speed at your location. You might feel pretty comfortable with that live stream. But what if you intend to live stream from a concert the next day when you'll be surrounded by hundreds, if not thousands of people who are going to be FaceTiming with their friends from their phones? How will that impact your available bandwidth? Will it suddenly drop below 7 megabits per second? We have had situations where we were consistently getting 16 megabits in the days leading up to an event, but only 4.5 megabits per second on the day we wanted to stream. Consider this. What if you promised your viewers a live stream, or perhaps you're being paid by the organizer to live stream the concert? What happens if your stream fails? So before you commit to your followers or a client to a live stream, Consider all of the risks and the impact to your business or your brand if your live stream fails. Before we go through all of the components of our rig, in full disclosure, we paid for all of the items you're about to see, so our opinions are not influenced by freebies. If you do purchase any of the items using the links, we do get a small amount of money, but this money goes to support our charity. Here is our setup. We start off with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. We chose this camera because it offers exceptional value for the money, and Blackmagic is an Australian company, so it was a no-brainer. To that, we've added the Panasonic 12 to 35mm zoom lens. This is a great lens for this camera. To the camera itself, we've attached the Small Rig full cage, and on the side we've added the Small Rig optional extension cold shoe mount. Looking around the table, let's first talk about this. This is the Small Rig NATO top handle. This is a great handle. I like this particular one because it has a lot of options in terms of threads on both sides of the handle. It has also a option for a rail if you want to add that down the road. So this particular handle I like, and also too, it is slightly longer than some of the other handles, so that was also an important consideration. To the top of the handle, we've added the Small Rig L series battery 7.4 volt to 12 volt adapter. This also has a 7.4 volt side, and this is used for the dummy battery that you can put inside the camera. We don't use that option simply because if we're running this entire camera on this battery and it dies, then the entire camera dies. By using the 12 volt side, what the battery effectively is doing is just ensuring that this internal battery is at full capacity. So when this battery dies, I just simply hot swap for a new battery. When that battery dies, and that will die, we've tested these for around about an hour, I just simply hot swap it. The camera still has power because it's being powered by the internal battery. I then take another one of these batteries and attach it, and I am good to go. There are different sizes of battery. You can get the little 570 here up to the 970. We chose the 750 because it not only gives an hour, but it's good ergonomics in the run and gun. So if I'm using this in a run and gun, I can easily get my hand around the grip. Now, if I were to use, say, the 970, which is about this high, it starts to get very difficult to grip the handle. So these are a really good size for us for this solution. Now this has a little indicator light here, and as you can see, I'm down to 2 lights on this particular battery. Eventually that will go to 1 and then 0. If it does die, as I mentioned before, the camera is not going to die because the internal battery is going to keep the camera running, and I have up to 30 minutes to simply change out that battery, and I'm back to 3 lights, and this battery will last me, as I said, about an hour. So that gives us 3+ hours of battery life. Some of you may be thinking to use a V-mount battery, but consider that they add weight on this rig, and the V-mount would block the camera screen. Next, we have the Small Rig tilt and swivel cold shoe mount, and to that I've attached just a generic cell phone holder. I have just a generic 5200 milliamp hour battery, and that's connected to the Small Rig universal power pack adapter. I have the Small Rig universal SSD mount, and I've mounted a SanDisk 1 terabyte extreme SSD. This has a nice little feature at the back where I can tighten this and ensure that my USB-C cable is nice and firm inside the drive, that it doesn't come out. I also have the Small Rig USB-C and HDMI cable clamp. This fits to the side of the cage here, and what it does is it makes sure that my HDMI cable and my USB-C cable are also held firmly in place. I have a USB-C powered hub. Now, this HDMI USB adapter plugs into the hub, and then this in turn plugs into my cell phone. Because this is a powered hub, I know that my cell phone is also being charged as I'm using it. For example, I might have 3 hours of battery life for my camera, but what if my cell phone dies in the middle of a live stream? I need to ensure that it too is receiving power. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen these before. These are a little Velcro tie that comes on a roll. They all come on a roll. And what you do is you just tear them off, and these are excellent for cable management. They're also very good for when you need to MacGyver a USB-C hub to the top of a drive. Just keeps it neatly in place. For sound, we went with the Rode wireless go-to system. Now, the camera has great stereo recording up to a certain distance, but if you're over 10 feet or so, the sound is not going to be great. Connecting a shotgun microphone to this rig proved problematic, so the Rode wireless go-to system really was a great solution for us. Again, not only because they're a great Australian company, but also too, with the transmitter, you can use this handheld microphone adapter. So for this, we can use it for on-camera interviews. This is the Nokia X20. We went with this particular cell phone for a number of reasons. The first one is this is military grade tough. It has the toughest screen. It can be dropped from a certain height. I believe it'll even go up to 5 feet underwater and still operate. So ruggedness was obviously a consideration, especially if you're taking this out into the real world where it can get dropped, etc. We also went with it because it is dual SIM. There are 2 SIM cards in this phone. If for whatever reason we ran out of data on one SIM card, we can switch over to the other and use the data plan on that SIM card. Another reason is price. This retails for only $500. And that was a big consideration for us. Now, there's been some criticism of this phone because it doesn't use the fastest processor, but that processor is optimized for 5G. And being a 5G phone, we felt that we'd rather go with a slightly slower processor that's optimized for 5G and also gives you longer battery life than going for a faster processor that we may not have even noticed the difference. So that's the Nokia X20. You may have your own 5G phone now, but if you are looking to upgrade, have a look at this phone. If it suits your needs, it might be a good fit for you. Just a reminder again that this solution only works with Android phones. If you have an Apple phone, it will not work. Apple do not allow their phones to connect to an external camera using this device. looking at the top of the camera, I have access to all of my function buttons and my power switch, and I have access to all of my camera buttons as well. So there it is, a cinematic camera that's able to live stream in 1080p, simultaneously record in 4K RAW, have a battery life of 3 or more hours, not only for the camera but also for your cell phone. It is handheld, it can be used run and gun or mounted on a tripod. You can record in 2-channel sound up to 600 feet away with the Rode Wireless Go-To system. A bonus is you can also use this adapter so you can do on-camera interviews with a handheld mic. We would love to hear from you, so please leave your feedback in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If you would like to learn more about the Australian community and our charitable work here in the US, you can visit our website at www.aucommunity.org or follow our social media by searching for @AUCommunity. Thank you.